So Jeremiah is saying, this is the covenant I will make with the people of Israel after that time. I'll put my instructions within them. I'll engrave them on their hearts. I'll be their God. They will be my people. They will no longer need to teach each other to say, know your God, because they will all know me. From the least to the greatest, I'll forgive their wrongdoing and never again remember their errors. This new covenant, when we don't need to teach each other's teachings to know God. Do you suppose those other churches have heard about it? Are we sure we've heard about it? Have we really thought about it? That's why we do the shared homily. That's why the sensus fidei, the consensus fidei is what I usually call it, is key to the listening of the church. Because God is written in each of our hearts. I'm just the subject matter expert. I'm just the person they all sent to school. I'm not the only person who hears God. We all do. Whatever that hearing may be, we all have God already in us. And we know what we need to do. It's the doing it that's hard, right? And that's what we need to be encouraged to do. And we need to encourage each other to do it. I'm trying to decide. So next Sunday, we've got Living Water coming with us. And one of the things I tend to do on Palm Sunday is that normally in that week in big dioceses, there's a chrism mass and all the clergy get together and renew their vows. So I've been renewing my vows to you all because we don't tend to do this big formal thing in the ECC. And it'll be a little weird to put that in with everybody else, but I think I'm going to do it anyway because I think it's important. I work for you. Really, I work for us because the us is the church. Which brings us back to being encouraged to do the right thing. That I need to live up to you as well as live up to God. And sometimes that's harder than others, right? And that leads to Psalm 51. And this is one where I at least still have Keith Green singing in my head. Create in me a clean, clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Yeah, because I need to get cleaned up and get my spirit renewed more often than I'd wish. I blow it on a regular basis. And yet, Hebrews is talking about how Jesus is a priest forever, just like Melchizedek. God had the power to save Jesus from death. God had the power not to send Jesus in the first place. And while Jesus was on earth, he was very human. And the very human said, I don't want to do this. This is not going to be fun. And we know that Jesus, coming out from God as he was, still worshiped God and still knew that familial relationship and promised us that we were in on that too. And that God listens to us too. And the writer of Hebrews said that Jesus had to suffer so that we could learn what it really means to follow. It involves suffering when you follow right. Hopefully it just stays at the troll phase. Boy, when you're speaking grace in a world that doesn't have much time or energy for that, people give you some pretty nasty cutbacks, right? And it's our call to follow God into that love, even when we get cut for doing it. And walking into that actually, ironically, completes our healing. When we reach the point where we can love the troll and say, nope, wrong, and I'm not going to vilify you. I'm simply going to say you have healing and work to do. I'm not there. Please don't think I'm there yet, but that's what I'm trying to be. And sometimes I get close. And we go into John, and I'm actually going to bring you back to the acclamation. If you serve me, follow me. Where I am, my servant will also be. One of the funny things about our familial relationship with God, and it's probably no different than the child of any other ruler, right? You know, you're still the child, you're still in the family, but that's still boss. There's this thing in my head that goes both directions, and I at least am okay with that. I am more secure in a lot of ways, knowing who I serve. And then if we go back to the God being in everybody, who I serve, that God I serve is in everybody. And then when we look at the gospel in John, some Greeks had gone to Jerusalem to worship. Well, you remember the huge Jewish diaspora that was already hugely arrayed out throughout the Roman Empire before Jesus' time. These were not Hellenic people. These were Jews from Greek lands. And we know that they were treated differently. They weren't as good as the local Jews, because the whole reason we have deacons is that the Greek Jews, the Greek followers of Christ, said our widows aren't getting as much help. Deacons were sent out to make sure equity happened to these other Greek Jews who weren't as cool as the local ones. Oh, the humanity. So these diaspora Greek Jews who know that they're not as respected in Jerusalem go to one of the apostles, who goes to a closer apostle, both of whom go to Jesus to see if he's got time for these kids. And Jesus' response is not, oh yeah, I got 5 minutes, bring him right here. He makes a bigger thing out of it. He says, yep, it's time to go public. It's time to go international. He says, the time has come for the Son of Man to be given his glory. But remember what that glory is. I tell you for certain that if a grain of wheat falls to the ground, it will never be more than one grain unless it breaks down and opens up. And if it will break down and open up, it bears much fruit. If you love your life the way it is, and all the coziness of going along and going through the motions, you will not break open and grow. Facts, right? Not looking at nobody in particular. If you stop being cozy in the life that doesn't question who you really are, you're cozy, but you're not living. But if you will break down and break open, you will burst forth and bear much fruit. And if we're going to serve that resurrected life, that's what we've got to do. If you serve me, you must go with me. My servants will be with me wherever I am. And if you serve me, my parent will honor you. So, following Christ's way takes humility, it takes hard work, and you're going to take some wounds along the way. You just are. Sometimes big wounds. I'm aware of how big a target I put on me. Boy, that's the way. That's where the way leads. And the only glory to be found is the glory that shines forth in somebody else's heart when they finally believe the good news you're telling them, that they too are cherished and loved as they truly, truly are. You want glory, that's where glory is. Glory is the morning dawn shining in somebody else's heart because you've shown Jesus on. And I got to say that there's nothing more worth it in the world. If we can take God's sacrificial love and internalize it so deeply that our knowledge that we're in this love is so huge that it pours out from us no matter what it costs, then we build the kingdom. Build the kingdom of God. So for our discussion, let's talk about that and when somebody else's act or life of love has changed you and how we can live this kingdom of love and grace.